Hello, we are live, and we already have somebody here. Hello. Just gonna take a moment to settle in and see if anybody's here this Thursday evening. So, oops, I don't know. There might have just been a glitch in the matrix, but we're here now. We're here now, and I guess I'm gonna give it a moment. And in the meantime, just want to offer you all just so much love and appreciation. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being you, to be on the earth at this time, going through all of these shifts. I know we're all feeling it in our own way. Feel free to share in the chat or in the comments how you're doing. It seems like there's such a wide spectrum that I've been seeing. I've been seeing a lot of, well, when isn't there intense emotions arising in the collective these days? But yeah, I just want to send some love and appreciation to you all first. Thank you for being here. Thank you just for your presence. I'm really blessed to be able to share, to be able to share with people, and such amazing people, and just feel this love and the support. Words don't even have, I can't even like find the words. I've been feeling that a lot lately. I've been feeling that. I've really been enjoying silence more than ever before. It just feels so necessary. I highly recommend in any state, especially if you do find yourself getting overwhelmed, which is very easy to do in this day and age. Um, yeah, sitting in silence. It's like, to your ego is going to be like, oh, that sounds like the worst thing I could be doing. I have so much to do. But really, if you sit in silence, I just think it's one of the greatest medicines, honestly. Because a lot of what I'm going to be talking about today, and I have been talking about, and I will continue to be talking about, is starting to come back into what I want to say is the more natural flow of life, and how we are more actually organically designed to be as human beings, and how coming back into this more, I want to say, organic field of consciousness. And another way you could say this is coming out of the mind control, or I've been liking calling it dream control lately, because it's like basically what I'm talking about, the mental programming and conditioning that we've all been born into, which is so deep, it's so intense. Um, it really inverts what I believe the natural design of Earth and human beings is, which the natural design in my findings is living and creating from the inside out. Remembering, we were born with such amnesia, but coming back into who we are, remembering and knowing who you are, making that one of your top priorities. That's why one of the reasons why being present is so important. And so you can walk this earth knowing who you are and start living in your full power again, versus this old paradigm where it's mind control, it's a dream control. It's like we're living our life, but we're allowing ourselves to be we have been, in the past, so controlled by the external world, by the dream, by the illusion. And the old paradigm, I would say, is one of, trying to manipulate all and force and control. And that's where the ego comes in, trying to control and manipulate all of these circumstances in your life outside of you, so that way you can feel safe, so that way you can feel a certain way. And in my experience, coming into what I'm calling the new paradigm or the next phase of evolution. Even though it's not necessarily new, this is the way I believe that many advanced ancient civilizations and masters understood and lived in this way more than I do. Um, but in this new paradigm, it's really the opposite, and that's why it can be so unnerving to be going on this spiritual journey, is because it's really asking us to let go of that control over our external circumstances, which is again the ego. um, Coping mechanism after coping mechanism, limiting belief after limiting belief. And that's what we're going to talk about today. If you couldn't tell by the title, is remembering your limitlessness. This is about, again, remembering who you really are, starting to embody your soul and follow your soul, and stitching all of these limiting beliefs and stories in a way that, in my experience, and I've been, studying this and experimenting with this for a long time, in ways that I find to be the most simple and elegant, to start letting these things go and being free. Because if you're here, and you're listening to me, then freedom is probably one of, if not the greatest driving forces in your life, moving towards that feeling of freedom, of expansion, of abundance, limitlessness. So I'm going to be talking about that. And it just so happens that I've created, this is what I've been cooking, that I've been kind of hinting at. I've been cooking up a course called Remembering Limitlessness. I have it in the description below. I'm going to be kind of talking about that. Everything in here is sort of connected to that. So if you're interested in having that experience, definitely check that out, because it's been something that really just poured through me, into this outlet of an online course. And I'm really excited about it. It's been an experience for me. So I'm going to talk about more of that in a second, but I want to say hi to everyone. Hello, Metal Demon. What's up? How are you? Hello, Ade, Infinite Moment Podcast. It has been a minute since I've seen you live. Hello, Brett. So good to see you guys. So many beautiful people here. Richard, crazy spectrum of energies swirling about for sure. Oh, yeah. Aaron, Jeffrey. Oh, my goodness. Aaron, hello. Such a beautiful assortment of people. You're probably wondering why I've gathered you here today. Just kidding. I already told you. So, everyone who's here right now, as always, feel free to share anything you're going through, or anything that's inspiring you. Any questions? Jeffrey says he has a question. Ask away. So let's see, where are we going to dive into this? I always just feel so much love, and I'm just so thankful. I'm so thankful to you guys for being able to feel this love and give it back. It's really what it's all about. It's so amazing to connect with people and remember that we're really all going through this together. And a lot of the things, it's like we're really all in the same boat here in our own way. We all have our own lives and experiences and circumstances, but I think on a core level, a lot of us are really all just going through the same thing. And a big part of it is this. So this is my goal. I'm just gonna flow with this. It's like I just want to get to the core. I think that's something that I'm often aiming for, is getting to the core of things. And I love simplifying things. Simplifying the energetics of what we're in. So let's see. That's really just been my question, I guess, is not even a question. It's been the intention. See what I mean with these words? Like, words really fail. It's such a blessing that telepathy is coming back so strongly, if you haven't noticed, because sometimes talking is just so mental. So basically, getting to the core of the things that have been keeping us in these limitations, I guess. And these limitations could be anything, whatever you feel your limits are. So, maybe you feel unworthy, or um, maybe you feel like things that you want are eluding you, or you're just not enough, or it's not enough, or you don't have enough money, or your relationships, or maybe you just feel a general sense of disharmony or confinement, or whatever it is, these types of things. And so I guess I just want to get to the core of what that really is. And not only that, but how can we begin to experience more love in our lives, more expansion, more ease. Really, I think that's a big one, is more ease, more simplicity, more freedom. How do we connect? This is always something I guess I'm experimenting with, is like, how can I be more present? How can I connect even deeper with the source, with God, with my soul, with this creativity? So that's a lot of what's kind of been inspiring me. And I started asking myself, some questions, um, that just created like a whirlwind of experiences. And that's really how this course came to be. And at first I knew it was going to be something about embodying your soul. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. And then, it's funny how, like, it's just so funny how God works, or the universe works, and how we work. And that's really what I'm trying to say in this energy, when we allow ourselves to be free, and we start letting go of, some of these conditions and programs and ways of being, trying to control everything in the old paradigm. When we start coming into this new energy and breaking out of the mind control, or the dream control, or like really, it's so much of our logical mind, our ego, that's been really, really keeping us in these boxes. And this is the core of what I want to say, is the mind control. I know that has like negative connotation to it, but I don't know what else to call it. I mean, that's really just what it is. The programs that we have been born into, and the amnesia that we've had, the impact that it's had on our lives as we continue to go on this awakening journey, as we continue to free ourselves, you start to really see it in a new way, I think, in a new light. um, all of the ways in which, consciously or unconsciously, we've been limiting ourselves, we've been playing victim to life, we've been at war with what is, we've been literally getting played by our own game. And that's the heart of it. I think that's the heart of it for me. It's like, it's really hard to see all the suffering that we've been in, that humanity's been in, that people have been in. And it's even harder to see almost how much we've been programmed to be creating it ourselves. And I think we're entering this new phase of evolution where, for many of us, for a lot more people now, it's time to take way more responsibility for ourselves, for our energy, for what we're believing in, for what we're creating, for what thoughts and energies we are entertaining. Because at the end of the day, as adults, as sovereign beings who have the knowledge, once you know what I'm talking about, when you reach that point, it's 100% your responsibility. Your life, your energy, your beliefs, and your beliefs are creating your reality, if not entirely, almost entirely. So, taking responsibility for that, it's like I said in my last video, that idea that nobody's ever lied to you. It's just people tell you stories and you choose to accept them, and it's a lot easier to accept the lie or the story that somebody's told you than it is to challenge it. And again, I never want to, I never want to come off cold or insensitive to the suffering and to the limitations people have and are in, because that's really not my point. But again, the whole point of what we're talking about here is freedom. Freedom. This is for the people who want to be free, who are done playing victim to the bullshit. And basically the heart of what I'm trying to say right now, and this is probably just a reminder, but like I invite you to be humble, because it goes really, really, really deep. It goes really deep. Um, to start really being honest about yourself, of when you're bullshitting yourself. Stop lying to yourself, being really, really honest with yourself, and taking radical responsibility for these things. And another thing, so what really started too, so like the thing that really started when I created this course, Remembering Limitlessness, it all of the information poured into me like a glass of water or a pitcher of water. It was really not something I was in control of. And it was kind of it felt like almost like a Tetris piece that like locked in, and everything like activated and lit up. I don't know if you guys have ever felt that. You probably have, or you might start to feel it. You start to feel how so many of these things are just out of control. It's like there's a divine universal force, and that's what you are, and that's what you're in. And it's all designed to work so beautifully and harmoniously. And that's what happens when you allow it to. But that's the problem with the mind control and the conditioning that we've been in, that humanity has been in, is it puts you in like a matrix, or like a mental distortion. It puts you in like many mental boxes and prisons that are keeping you from actually like organically interacting in the field, if that makes sense. Because we have this ego that's overriding, and it's not even the ego, it's really our focus, because our focus is everything. It's our focus and our attention and our choices. That's where our power is. That's how we start to take back our power every single moment of every single day. But the fact that our attention, and this is what awakening is, realizing this stuff. Our focus has been in this ego lens, in this mind control that is cutting us off from God. So basically, what I'm saying and trying to explain really articulately is how we cut ourselves off from God, how we cut ourselves off from the natural flow of the universe, how we cut ourselves off from who we really are. And a lot of this is unconscious, but as you awaken, you start to become more conscious of it. And sometimes that's really uncomfortable. That involves transformation. It involves points where you're going to have feelings or experiences in your now moment that are going to trigger you to ultimately let go of what you're not, so that way you can be what you are. And a lot of people will take that as life is happening to me, life is punishing me. And what I'd like to invite you more and more is to see that life is doing this for you. And every time something like that arises, or pain in your life arises, it's showing you an area where something higher could be happening now. And I just went through such, this course is going to invoke a miraculous transformation in you. And I'm telling you that for sure, because I myself went through this transformation, not only in the beginning of it that inspired it, but also like through it. It's these really simple fundamental knowings and practices that is really the core of it. I think sometimes it's easy to get pulled into these like esoteric rabbit holes, which is fine. That's a wonderful game to play with yourself. But that's really what it is, is getting pulled into like all of these rabbit holes, when really, if you're honestly seeking freedom and truth right now, all of those mental, it's like you got to really start letting go of all these mental games, or at least be more aware when you're playing these mental games, and discover that the truth is now, period. God speaks to you in silence and stillness. Everything you have and need and are is right now. And what's crazy is how we try to bypass that. And that's another ego thing, because the present moment is, it's an ego annihilation in of itself, to be truly fully present. So the ego wants to avoid the present moment. The ego wants to live in the past, or worry about the future, or go into these logical or intellectual, or even esoteric intellectual spaces where it can avoid being present, which is where the actual truth is. And all of these stories and spiritual stories and all this stuff, like, I'm not saying they are without value, but it's just a story, And so it's the mind. And a part of this evolution, a lot of it right now, is us coming back into balance, back into our center, which a lot of that is coming back into our bodies, coming back into the heart. And that's something you'll notice about when if you bravely and courageously decide to just sit in silence for an hour, come back, and really just try to focus on nothing, which I guess in a way is impossible, but just try it. And notice how quickly your mind will squirm and be like, oh my God, I can't take it. It's like, it's either so loud in here in this mind, or this bores me to death. I need to think about something. I need to do something, stuff like that. But if you can keep having, a little bit of discipline to be present, eventually you'll break through that. And you can really start speaking and hearing God in a whole new way when you really start being in that silence and that stillness. And you'll notice, though, how different of a realm the body is, how different of a realm the heart is and the spirit is, because we've been so in our minds, and this is how we've been mind controlled, my friends. This is the secret, and just to put it as articulately as possible, is that our minds were programmed as kids. Really not our fault, right? Because we were children. What are we supposed to do? So we accepted all this bullshit about ourselves that we learned from our parents or our government or our church or whatever, society, Hollywood, all these things. We're inundated with it. It's everywhere. So we got programmed. Damn, I lost my train of thought. um, It'll come back to me. It always does. It's so funny when that happens. I was so into it too. I'm sorry, you guys. Mini cliffhanger. What was I talking about? Somebody remind me. So, mind control, right? So we got programmed. Yes, getting quiet. And oh my gosh, it's so awkward when that happens. God bless. Thank you guys for your patience. Reagan checking to make sure we're listening. Yes, this is. I like the way you think, Ane. Got my back. No, I love you guys so much. Gosh, it was good too. Something about, okay, we're getting programmed. Yeah, we've been so in our minds. Thank you, Richard. Oh my gosh. Yes. Okay. So, just we're so in our minds that we don't even realize that that's been our whole experience. So we've been so programmed in our minds, and through the conditioning that we've been in, through everything we've been told and accepted as truth, and then all the trauma that we've experienced, that also has basically fractured our minds again, whether it was intentional or not. When you have trauma in your life that you're not able to handle, it fractures your mind. And enough of that, that's when the ego takes in, and we've been controlled by our egos. So basically, my point is we've been so in our minds that coming back into this organic reality that I'm talking about, the way that the way that this natural field is designed for us and by us, and the way that we were designed to be in it and be in this massive, easy harmony with it. It's so easy. It's like, it's so simple. It's just natural. It's very harmonious. And what's blocking us is our minds. So we have all of these stories we're believing that are controlling us. Are you guys following? I'm trying to make this as simple as possible. And I know this maybe isn't even a new thing, but I just think it's so essential, to come back and master the foundations, master being present, appreciating the present moment, knowing who you are. All of these things are so much more going to help you live free in limitless, and break out of this mind control nonsense. That's what's really going to be your ticket to freedom, to your greatest expansion, in each moment. That's what's going to help you align with the things that are meant for you, that you can feel in your heart. A lot of people are like, what's my purpose? You're already living in your purpose always right now, but to keep, deepening into the purpose, which is just your greatest joy, your greatest expression, your greatest love, your greatest service, the things that your heart is calling you towards. Side note, desire is actually the root words of desire in Latin is of the stars. Desires, it's like what God wants to experience through you, and it's natural. You don't have to force it. You don't have to make it happen. It's trying to happen already. But basically the biggest thing is getting out of your own way. So it's pretty amazing. And the reason I want to say all this is because, again, as a child, all of these stories you bought into and this trauma that jacked up your mind, as now that you're an adult and you are here and you understand what I'm saying, when you take radical responsibility for all of that and realize that you are creating your whole reality, you are, that can be a hard pill to swallow. But at the same time, if you're willing to go there, even if just as an experiment, even if you're not willing to fully accept that yet, just as an experiment, willing to accept that you are creating your reality. No one is doing this to you. There's nobody that's doing this to you as an adult. It's not your parents. It's not the government. It's not the corporations. It's not the elite. It's not the cabal. It's not these demons. It's not any of this. When you wake up, it's you. And again, sometimes that's a hard pill to swallow, especially for people who really are still attached to their victim mentality and really love being a victim to their circumstances. And I know there's people like that. And that's their game. They can play that game. They're welcome to play that game. But I'm speaking to the people that I know are like me, and we just want to be free. And we're willing to do whatever we need to do to be free, to be who we really are, to tap into these amazing, incredible levels of expansion where we break outside of the box and break the mold of what we've been told. There's so much more possible for you. I mean, and that's the weird paradox, is that there's so much more possible for you, and you know that, and you can feel that, but it's not outside of you. It's right here, right now, in the present. And that's literally the eternal truth. Shout out to eternal truth, even though you're not on that account. But that's the eternal truth, is that it's always right here, right now. And your mind is on a million different programs. It is like a program. It's like changing your TV channels. There's like a million different programs going on right there. And they're all like different games you can play with yourself, but start to realize that's what it is. It's a game you're playing with yourself. So you can play the unworthiness game. You can play the scarcity game. You can play the I'm constantly sabotaging myself game. There's all these things are just games you can play. And whatever you are creating is the game, is whatever you're experiencing is literally the game you're creating for yourself. And if you can take full responsibility for that, you start to take your power back. So that's what I'm trying to say. And again, it's a hard pill to swallow sometimes, but you want to be free, you swallow that hard pill, you know. Um, Life gets way more freaking awesome. Life gets so fun. Life gets so easy. Like you remember how to play the game again. That's literally how you get, not that's, I've been kind of rethinking this lately. People talk about exiting the matrix or escaping the matrix. Um, I feel like in this life, it's more about controlling the matrix, and even in the movie The Matrix, that's what Neo does. It's not, he doesn't escape the matrix, he learns how to control the matrix with his mind. And when I say control, I'm always saying release control. I'm talking about releasing your ego's control, trying to control things around you. There's a different kind of control that comes in what I'm calling the new paradigm. And it's the ability, it starts with the ability to fully accept and be aware of everything you're in right now, and realize that you are creating it, even if you don't yet understand how you're creating it or why you're creating it. That doesn't even matter as much as the first step, which is just full acceptance that you are creating it, and that there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with life. Everything is happening as it's supposed to be happening. The distortion is just your mind. And so that's when, again, remembering limitlessness, this course I'm putting out just for, well, I did it first for myself because I just had to create it, but I did it for you guys and for the people who are who feel what I'm saying and resonate with this in their body. That's what it's all about. Is okay, now you understand everything is happening as it should be. The only thing that's broken is your mind, because that's what the mind control did. That's what the mind control has done to us, is it broke and fractured our minds, so that way we're creating potential hell realms. A lot of that, hopefully you're not in hell, but some people are. But it creates all this dysfunctional stuff in your reality, dysfunctional stuff in your reality, that you're creating, and you don't even realize you're creating it through your programming, through your beliefs, because your mind is still, your mind is creating real reality. So that's what this is all about. It's starting to recognize everything that I'm saying, get clear on the fundamentals. If you want to be free, you got to get clear, I think, on the fundamentals, and not get so caught up in all of this stuff of the mind, because the mind is going to have a million rabbit holes in every single way. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. You can explore all those mental rabbit holes. I'm not saying that's better or worse. It's just an experience. All beings return to source eventually. But again, my point is, for those of us who are seeking that freedom, you want that freedom, you want that expansion, you want to feel that limitlessness, that spaciousness, that abundance. That's going to be found nowhere else in the present moment. So if you can practice the skill of being actually awake, again, which is being aware, awakening is a skill. It's a divine skill that you practice by being present and really, really committing and devoting yourself to that practice. I don't know anything that's more important than that. I don't know anything in this life that's more important than, being present and making that, and there's perhaps infinite levels to how present you can be, when you start this practice. It's not like there's a destination. It's like you just keep learning how to be more and more present. And all this stuff starts opening up from you. And it starts on the inside. You start to experience this limitlessness within you. You start to experience this greater expansion. It feels kind of like you feel more love, you feel more peace, you feel more harmony. You're not at war with yourself anymore. You're not at war with what's going on out there. You just stop being at war with yourself and being at war with God. People are at war with what is, and they exhaust themselves, and they just keep themselves in these loops and these programs, and they don't even realize it. But when you start getting present, you start being in harmony with yourself and in the universe, because the universe is you. There is no separation. You start being in this greater harmony. And so you can start to tap into like genius. That's how people tap into genius, whether they realize it or not. You start tapping into this creativity, this innovation, this unconditional love, this force that just takes care of you. It just shows you everything that you need. You get in tune with your intuition, and you know the hardest thing that you're going to have to deal with is just the transformation, which is sometimes, purging deep emotions or overcoming, or I don't know if I even like want to use that word overcoming, but transformation, transformation is like a death and a rebirth. And I think at this point in our journeys, it's like, it feels like we get to experience many lifetimes in one lifetime. And the way that we do that is because we have our deaths and rebirths. And you're here, you're on the Transforming the Darkness channel. I know that you're not shy of death, even though it's intense. But that's the hardest thing. If there was something that's hard about being in the flow and surrendering to your deeper self and knowing who you are and starting to let go of all these stories and realize that none of them matter. All of these stories we hold on to, they really have no meaning except for the meaning you attach to them, because you're choosing to believe in them. So you're, in a way, giving your power to them. Anytime you're suffering, you're giving your power away to the dream outside of you. So it's like mind control, it's like dream control. And what we're talking about here, the core of the course is coming back and getting back into the natural order of things, which is from the inside out. Not getting swept away in the things that you yourself are creating. Wake up. It's like waking up God, which is you, within you, the living God within you. That's what this feels like. It feels like, do you remember who you are? Do you remember that you're creating all of this? Are you ready for that? You don't have to be, but are you ready for that? Are you ready for that truth? Are you ready for that responsibility? Because you don't have to be, but if you are, let's go, because this is so fun. It gets so much more fun. You start to realize everything, you start to realize so many more things. So once again, this is really the heart of what this course is about. Is it's about teaching you the fundamental, simple knowings and practices to start letting go of these stories. The easiest ways that I know of to start letting go of these beliefs, because you can start to let go of these beliefs almost instantaneously. You can start to let go of some of these feelings almost instantaneously, and even the things that maybe are deeper and more ingrained in you. It's like you can start to let this stuff go even more and more. And what is the result of that? You start having a lot more abundance in your life. You start having a lot more. And abundance doesn't just mean money. You'll start having more money, but you'll start having more like amazing friendships and relationships. You'll start having more just amazing experiences outside of yourself, but you're not attached to it anymore. It's because you're creating that within you, because it's the outside of you, the dream that you're in has to match what's within you. And again, the full radical responsibility. I don't know about you guys. I'm actually curious how you feel about this, the people that are listening to this, because I know like there's some people who are so addicted to their victim mentality that this could trigger people deeply. I don't really feel that from you guys. I don't feel that at all. Maybe in my darkest moments where I'm like really still clinging to a victim mentality. But for me personally, I don't take any pride in like being a victim in any way. Even the things that I don't understand, even the circumstances that arise or the beliefs or experiences that arise that I don't understand. I know taking responsibility is going to be my ticket to my expansion and the truth. So that's just how I feel about it. So I'm going to keep going, but I do want to talk in the chat. I'm so sorry for neglecting you guys. I know you guys are so amazing over here. And thank you so much, Infinite Moment, Ade. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you, Brett, for the super chat. You guys are amazing. I love you. Thank you. Jeffrey has a question. Are you still here, Jeffrey? I'm sorry. I just saw this. Dang, I'm sorry. Hopefully you're still here. I have a job where I get cash at my job, and I believe I'm manifesting it because I treat people at my job good and the people who come to my job. Will I lose this if I don't give back to people? There are people I know I can help because of the position I am in. If I feel like I don't help them, then I will lose what I'm doing because of bad karma. Interesting question. So this is where we get into, again, your beliefs are creating your reality. And this is kind of a multi-layered question. Um, so giving and receiving are one. So the more you give, the more you receive. The more you can receive, the more you give. It's just a natural thing, you know. If you want to, if you want to receive something, then give more of that thing, and that's just kind of how energy flows. But I also want to say, um, there's a there seems to be an undertone of fear in this question, where um, worrying about losing something if you don't give it back, which is a belief. So it's like, if you believe that story you're telling yourself, then it's going to be true. Whatever you believe is going to be true. Have you guys realized that now? It doesn't matter what it is. If you tell yourself, and sometimes it's unconscious, sometimes it's conscious. If you tell yourself, I'm eating this food, it's bad for me, you're going to experience that way more, than if you just had the experience and was present. It's just so many things that we tell ourselves, So that's where I would say, um, to be aware of that. And I would say, if you're going to give something, if you can give it out of genuinely wanting to give it, out of the spirit of abundance, the spirit of generosity, then that's amazing. And maybe that will be, a good dare for you, for yourself, if you want. Nobody's going to make you do this. This is all, for you. But if you do it because you feel obligated, because you're worried that if you don't do it, then you're going to lose something, then that's coming from a place of scarcity. It's coming from a place of lack. And so I would go there and, just kind of go into whatever that feeling is, that feeling of maybe lack or scarcity or greed. Greed and scarcity are actually very similar vibrations. Not having enough, hoarding, you're wanting to hold on to things. So maybe getting into that feeling, and just getting curious about that belief. Hopefully that makes sense. Because, yeah. Are you even still here? Well, let me know if that makes sense, and I can elaborate on that more if you're still here. Thank you guys again so much for the super chat. Thank you, Ashman, for being here. Getting to interact with the public, lots of people, is a chance to practice training your aura light work. I love it. Thank you, Apocalypse Theory. Good to see you. Mm-hmm. Meditation is now what you think. Wink, wink. Not what you think. That was actually really, I love how that mode. Hello, I of State. Good to see you if you're still here. Excuse me. Annie D, what's up? Haven't seen you in a while. Johnny. So beautiful. All right. All right, all right, all right. So, where are we at? Almost 44 minutes in. If you guys have anything you want to comment on about this, about what I'm talking about, or share anything, or any ideas or questions, feel free. I was just on such a roll. Let's see. Honestly, that might be the heart of everything that I wanted to share today for now. That was kind of a lot. It feels like it was a lot, at least. Unless there's anything you guys want to expand upon. So much love and gratitude to you guys. Honestly, when I think about it, that's something I do often these days, is I'll just kind of like go within and feel for my intuitive instruction. And honestly, the first thing that always comes up when I'm on here is just So much love. This is so much love. It's such a blessing. I want to share another nugget. I'll share another really powerful nugget before I go. Is, and I kind of talked on this earlier, but I think this is truly the most important thing. This skill of being present, being awake to what is, fully accepting what is. It's like the 3 A's: awareness, acceptance, and appreciation. First, being aware, which is being awake, which is being present to your life, yourself, meaning, there's different levels of awareness wherever you're at, being aware of what's going on around you, being aware of what's going on within you, being aware of how you're feeling, being aware of your thoughts, not identifying with your thoughts, but being aware of them, being this observer, not getting pulled into your own dream, waking up, not being pulled into your own dream, your own creation. And then accepting what you're in fully. And this is going to be really helpful for you if you are in a situation that is causing you suffering. I can give you this right now. You can clear this up right now by accepting what you are in fully, as if you had chosen it yourself, because on some level you are choosing it. And you don't even have to understand that yet. But whatever you're in right now in your own life, if you can fully accept it, and acceptance also goes deep. There's also levels to acceptance. This isn't just some cliche thing like I'm saying. Like, this is like real. If you have something in your experience that you've been avoiding, like the Black Plague, maybe you, for example, unworthiness, I think is a great example, but this could be anything. If you feel like you're unworthy or you feel like you're not good enough, and you're avoiding that feeling because it scares the shit out of you. And again, even that, realize that that's just your mind putting a logical judgment on energy, but really it's just energy. But if you can accept, this is going to sound crazy, but just roll with me for a second. If you can accept that maybe you're not good enough, you're not worthy, if that's the experience, can you accept that? What's crazy though is when you accept that, it's okay. I'm not worthy. It doesn't mean you're not worthy forever. It's just a very temporary experience. But by you avoiding it and denying it, you keep it alive in your field because you're not able to get the experience out of it. All of this is really just about getting the experience of it. That's in the eyes of God, a lot of it's just about getting the experience of it. But we're so caught up in our logical minds, our egos, our programs. Again, this is what this course is talking about. It's really, in this course, I'm really talking about this mind that has been controlling us. I'm really calling it out in such a clear way. It's really helpful when you understand this. So letting the mental judgments about it go and not having to have this protective reaction over it, but talking too much. I feel like I'm talking too much. The core is accepting the things that you've been avoiding at face value. I'm not good enough. I am broke. I have to rely on someone. I have to do this thing. Whatever it is in your life, if you have something in your life that you've been avoiding because you've been judging it as wrong, if you can fully accept it right now and really just fully accept it, no matter how bad or nasty you think it is, the moment you accept it, ironically, is the moment that you become free of it. I think that's what a lot of people maybe aren't aware of yet. But now you are, because you can try it in your own life. When you really accept it, it can actually dissolve. That's what's so crazy. That's really what is so crazy about it. And it can dissolve really rapidly. Sometimes it dissolves instantly when you fully accept what is and stop being at war with it. Your greatest fears, when your greatest fears arise, if you can accept them, be okay with them, they no longer control you. They can no longer control you. It's like this endless boogeyman that the mind has. Oh my God, well, what if I do this? What if I'm not good enough? What if I go broke? What if I have to ask this person for help? What if I have to do this? That's the death of me. Take a moment to just like close your eyes and accept it. Okay, like worst case scenario, accept the worst case scenario. You know, a lot of our suffering comes because we have all these we're so attached to these outcomes. A lot of our suffering also comes from we live our lives based off trying to avoid stuff. We live our lives based on trying to avoid feeling the feelings that are going to come up. And this is such another powerful key. I'm telling you from my own experience. And it takes a lot of courage and firmness and focus and love in yourself. When you start getting to these points, this is how you start breaking out of the matrix, so to speak. When you get to these points where you're willing to feel those feelings that you've been trying to avoid, and allow yourself to have that experience and accept it wholeheartedly, you start to become free because you're no longer controlled by these emotions. You're no longer controlled by these thoughts, these things that you've been trying to avoid. People will do crazy things to avoid whatever they're programmed to avoid. But when you start just facing it in yourself head on, even just in your own being, you know, feeling that like unworthiness, again, just which is just a label for an energy you're feeling. And it's temporary. You know, if you're feeling unworthy and you accept how unworthy you feel, how unworthy you maybe even are, accept it. And then it's like it can just dissolve and it's temporary. It doesn't mean you're not going to be worthy for the rest of your life. That doesn't even make sense. It's just a temporary experience, it's a temporary feeling. And, you know, it's just one side of the coin of worthiness and unworthiness. It's the same thing. So when you can accept it, you can start to come more into your worthiness. We've been so controlled. We've been so controlled by our fears. You know, this is what waking up really is. It's like we've been so controlled by our fears and by selling our soul, basically, which what I mean by that is just denying who we are so that way we can feel safe. That's what the ego, you know, often has us doing. And a lot of it's unconscious, but as we awaken, we become more conscious. And all of this happens naturally. I'm just trying to give you some tips to make it maybe more smooth. You know, we can start to learn. Again, that's what this course is all about, that I'm, you know, sharing with you guys, because it really is such an incredible gift that was gifted to me. Having these practices and tools to just make this process easy again. Or maybe I should say simple, because it 100% is simple. It may not always be easy, only because it does sometimes involve feeling the nitty and gritty within you. That can be hard. It just can be painful, but it's simple and you move through it. It's designed to move, it's temporary, it'll move out of you. And then you'll find yourself way lighter, way more expanded. You see, these things that we try to avoid feeling because we think it's going to destroy us, when we finally feel it, it doesn't destroy you. It just makes you stronger. It does destroy the ego, and maybe that's what it is. It's like it destroys the ego. It destroys the part of you that thinks that you can't handle it. You can. If it's coming up, you can handle it. And the more you accept everything that is as if you had chosen it yourself, no matter what it is, even if you don't understand it yet, you start to play the game again. You stop being played by your own game. That's what kills me, honestly, more than anything. You know, when I see the state that some people are in and the suffering, that's what kills me more than anything, is that people are getting played by their own game and they don't even know it. And that's been the norm. That's the norm of the mind control, is you get your ass kicked by your own freaking game. Why do you keep hurting yourself like that? You know what I mean? It's like a weird joke that's been played upon us, and on some level I guess we played it on ourselves. Take your power back. That's what this is all about. It's about taking your power back. You know, own it. Own who you are, own what you're doing, you know, own what's arising, own it. and it will start to have less and less power over you, and you can start to play your own game again, and you can start to have a lot more fun. And that's what the awakening is really all about. That's a big part of it. So the 3 A's, I'll leave you guys with this, because this in itself can change your freaking life. It's the core simple truths that will change your life. Not all this mental bullshit that doesn't matter, except for maybe the things that you actually can gain from the bullshit. But the 3 A's: awareness, being aware, accepting fully what is, because there's no point in being at war with what is. You're just exhausting yourself. And what is for a reason, because there's a part of you, because you're already limitless. You are already limitlessness. That's who you are. You are God consciousness incarnated in a very limited vessel. And this vessel is on its way back to limitlessness. And that's the journey, that's the joy, that's the beauty of what we're doing right now. It can be fun. It doesn't have to be grueling. It can be fun. So again, love how I always interrupt myself. Acceptance, or awareness, acceptance, and appreciation. Appreciation. Appreciation doesn't always mean you have to love it or like what you're in. It just means you're appreciating what is, because you're appreciating the value that you're getting in it. So if you can be aware and you can accept what is fully on a daily basis, on an hourly basis, make this your freaking main priority. Your life is going to be so freaking awesome, more than you ever even could believe possible. I promise you that. Miracles are real. Miracles happen all the time. And we can do this, you guys. This is what we do. This is the way, and I'm not telling you the way, but I'm just sharing with you, my what's the way for me. And because we all have our own unique signature. And then appreciation. Acceptance will help you not suffer. Appreciation will help you expand into your next freaking level. This is the last thing I'll say, because I don't want to be I know this is a lot of information. So appreciation, I think I said this kind of in the beginning. If you can just appreciate what is, practice every day appreciating yourself, what is, all of the luxuries that you have in your life that you might take for granted, because we're programmed to take it for granted. But if you can just make that your main priority, these 3 A's, and I'm not saying it's going to be easy. Again, it's simple, but you're going to have your ego shit come up like at an expedited rate when you really get serious about being and remembering who the fuck you are. Everything really, appreciation is the language of expansion. You want to expand your life, start appreciating things for real. That's really it. I mean, I don't even have to tell you what's going to happen, because if you really commit yourself to that practice, you will see for yourself what happens. So that's going to be perhaps a challenge. Commit yourself to that practice above all else things for 1 week and tell me what happens. Come back and tell me what happens in your life. I would love that, actually. Tell me about the things that shift in your life when you really start focusing on, above all else, being aware, accepting, and appreciate. Bonus points if you can fall in love with, because that's a whole other level, when you can fall in love with what is, even the things that your mind is judging as bad or shouldn't be happening, which is just a judgment of your logical programmed mind. Everything is just an experience you get to have, and no one's doing it to you. You are the creator being of your own life. That's what waking up is. So let's see. Yeah, it's amazing. Really, though, people want to expand. If you're like me, I'm, for better or worse, kind of an ambitious person, if you haven't noticed. I just love to create and expand and go into the depths of things. But there's these points where it's like, how can you expand if you're not appreciating genuinely what is? And appreciation can be a practice. It's totally normal. Don't beat yourself up about feeling ungrateful. It's just part of the human condition that we just move and groove through. But if you can really full on appreciate everything in your life, everything, the deeper you can find appreciation in your now moment and appreciate now, the more you're going to start living a miraculous life beyond what you believe. Everything is designed to come to you. When you start entering this frequency I'm speaking of and ditching the mind control bullshit, everything will start to come to you. You just live in your moment, you follow your joy, you let go of control, you follow your joy, you follow your intuition. Everything you want and need just comes to you. It's magical, it's abundance, it's the next level, it's a new way of being. It doesn't even make sense in the old paradigm, but that's what this new paradigm is. And that's what I'm trying to share. That's what I'm trying to teach. That's just what I'm living, and I just want to keep going and emanating it because it's such a miraculous, divine experience. And it really is possible for everyone who wants it. Promise you. It's available right now, in this instant. So that's what I have today. I am so grateful. Love you guys all so much. I say that a million times, but it's true. Hurricane truth too. Acceptance is the answer to all my problems today. When I am disturbed, it is because I find some person, place, thing, or situation, some fact of my life, unacceptable to me, and I can find no serenity. Until I accept that person, place, thing, or situation as being exactly the way it's supposed to be in this moment. Unless I accept life completely on life's terms, I cannot be happy. I need to concentrate not so much on what needs to be changed in my world as on what needs to be changed in me and my attitudes. Acceptance and gratitude, some of the best topics. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, acceptance. And I would go even further of like just accepting not just the world, but yourself. That's really where it starts. Full radical acceptance of yourself, of everything that you are, in your experience, all you're feeling. There's nothing wrong with you. Okay, this is what I'll leave you guys on. There's nothing wrong with you. If you stay to the end and you watch this will be like the bonus treat. I gotta plug my laptop in because it's gonna die on me. Sorry, 1 second. Oh, it's from the AA book. Cool. Here's getting crazy. What was I gonna say? Okay, this is the last thing for real. You are already perfect as you are right now. There is nothing wrong with you. All of the things that you think are wrong with you are just judgments in your mind because of stories that you have bought and believed. So, that's another exercise that I can give you right now that will change your life, I promise. And if you're not able to fully accept this yet because your ego is like, I'm not perfect, there's no way. Just ask yourself, what if? What if I'm already perfect as I am right now? What if there's nothing wrong with me? Because if you think there's a problem with you, then there has to be a problem with you. If you believe there's a problem, then there has to be a problem. This is like part of getting into how we're creating our reality. Just let yourself be perfect. Let yourself be perfect as you are right now. Don't take those judgments so seriously. See what happens. Just what if I was already perfect? Regardless of what you're feeling or thinking or experiencing, a lot of this evolution is just stop being so mean to yourself. Stop being so reactive to the feelings you're having. Unworthiness, anger, depression, rage, desperation, shame. All parts of the human conditioning that we're here to feel and move. And all energy is just energy that you can use to create, regardless of if it's positive or negative. So it's all good. Anyways, that's the last thing I'll give you. You're perfect, whole, and complete as you are now. God created you whole. Now you are always complete and perfect. You're always going to be complete and perfect. It's that simple. Your wisdom in your heart and the wisdom in your body already know this, and you can tune into that in the stillness I was talking about earlier. It's the mind that's going to have you all fucked up because the mind's been broken. The mind's been fucked. The mind's been purposely broken. I mean, if you guys, anyone here, you've studied mind control or MK Ultra or ritualistic abuse, you understand that there's specific things that have been done to you and generations that were designed to break your mind and make you act in a way that is unnatural and disharmonious for yourself. And again, yes, that was what we all went through. But where our power and freedom is 100% now is recognizing that yes, that happened. But ultimately, even if we didn't realize it, because you usually don't realize it when you're giving your power away. But to take your freedom back, you have to realize it was you who gave your power away. Stop blaming those people who did that to you. You know, it's justified to be pissed at them, but when you just let that, let yourself forgive yourself and forgive them and take responsibility. It was me who gave my power away. Maybe I didn't know what I was doing, but it was me who chose to believe I'm not good enough or whatever. Um, or whatever this mind control is saying. That's when you really start to take your power back and you can be free. So I think I made that clear for today. I hope this is helpful. I hope this benefited you. I hope you guys can just take, the knowings and especially the practices I've shared here and really use it in your life. That's my instruction if I had one. And check out the course. Just look at it. Just take a look at it and see, because I put a lot of love into it. There's tons of videos and written pieces and audio and memes even, and also access to the private community where you can start being in touch with other people that also are on this path seeking genuine truth and freedom and wholeness, that are ready to stop being victims, that are ready to stop blaming themselves and blaming each other and crying about everything and just freaking live the best life that they can. Those are the people I'm talking to. I'm calling in. Let's do this. Come be a part of this experience with me. I would love it if you checked out this course that I put all this creativity into in this community. But even if not, you're still here. That's, amazing. That's really all that matters. And the fact that you're here, on my channel, this is amazing. I love you. I honor you. Let's keep doing this. Let's keep pushing the limits, remembering our limitlessness that we are. It's amazing. I'm so excited. Let me just send you guys one more just loving prayer. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for supporting yourself and being a light in the world. I don't have to know you to know that the world is a much better place with you in it. Give yourself so much credit, you guys. I have to tell myself this, and I have to tell my friends this, and I have to tell everyone this all the time. Give yourself so much credit. People beat themselves up for what they're going through, but if they could see from a higher perspective what they're going through and how intense it is, they would probably bow at their own feet to realize what you're actually doing. The work you're actually doing is so grand. So remind yourself that, be your own best friend. You really gotta be. We're done. Again, that's what this is about. We're done being at war with ourselves. We're done being at war with what is. There's no point. It's self-mutilation. It doesn't help anyone. It's just the mind control bullshit. That's what I was going to say earlier. It finally came back to me. I guess I was meant to say it now. That's the mind control. It's the mind control. It breaks your mind so that way you're at conflict with yourself, and maybe I'm not meant to say it because I just lost it again. Maybe it's for another video for another time. So I love you too. I love you guys. Good to see you. Thank you everyone that's here. Thank you everyone who participated in the chat. Love that. I do read everything, even if I don't always read it out loud. I appreciate you. Thank you for everyone who just lurks in the shadows or watches the replay. See you guys next time. Have a magical Thursday. Have a magical weekend. Deep peace in the pneuma of now. Thank you, Richard. Love that. All right. It's so hard to leave. I'll be back, you guys. All right. Bye, everyone. Bye, Brett.